Good morning. It's 10 o'clock, and we'll call this meeting of the License and Variance Board to order on July the 9th at 10 a.m. I'm Andrea Worthy. I'm the Economic Development Director for the city, and to my left is Bo Jones, Water, Sewer, and Utilities Director, and to his left is Mary Moore, your Library Director, and today we make up your License and Variance Board. So we have the first item of the day, which is V25-058, a variance request to allow a second accessory structure in land lot 879 at 2579 Cobb Parkway. Sydney Kelly, the applicant. Ms. Crow, if you could give us the background, please.
Yes, all right. Okay. Good morning, thank you, Caitlin Crow, the Land Services Development Coordinator for Community Development. This variance is V25-058, as you read, to allow for that second accessory structure. So this subject parcel is a little over 2 acres, and it's located right here on the east side of Cobb Parkway, near the intersection of Cobb Parkway and Hargrove Road. So the subject property is currently occupied by the Red Lobster restaurant, with access directly off of Cobb Parkway. So the new proposed development is to build a new Raising Cane's restaurant there, which is a fast food chain, which will have an accompanying 2-car drive-through, as well as a canopy over the ordering area, just to help take in orders as cars arrive. So the drive-through canopy and there is a required dumpster enclosure are both going to be on the property, both detached from that from the proposed building. Since both of these do count as accessory structures, and our ordinance requires that every parcel only has one accessory structure, the variance is required. However, each of these has separate uses for the property. Of course, the dumpster enclosure will contain the trash, and the canopy will be for the restaurant group to kind of stand outside in inclement weather. Since there are separate uses, the hardship is not self-created. At the time of this report, there's been no calls in opposition to this request. And because there has been a restaurant business on this property since 1995, community development does not feel that there will be any negative impacts to any surrounding properties. So after reviewing this variance application, staff is supportive of the request and does recommend your approval with the following 2 conditions. The first condition is our standard, of course. Approval of the requested variance shall be conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan and elevations submitted with the variance application. And number 2, the 2 parcels shall be combined into 1 parcel via combination plat prior to issuance of the certificate of occupancy. The 2 parcels are listed in your memo. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Does the board have any questions for staff?
All right, thank you.
Just a moment. We'll call you up in just a moment. All right, is the applicant here? Can you step forward to the podium, please? State your name, please, for the record.
Harrison Aiken.
Mr. Aiken, do you have any other additional information you'd like to provide to the board other than what Ms. Crow said?
No additional information at this time.
You understand the 2 stipulations, including the combination of the plat?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And are willing to comply with those?
Yep,
yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, any questions for the applicant? Who is Sydney Kelly?
Sydney Kelly works with me at Kimley Horn, so I'm here on behalf of Kimley Horn, the applicant.
Thank you for the clarification. Okay, you can have a seat. This is a public hearing. If anyone here wishes to speak in favor or against this item, please come forward at this time. Good morning. Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Steve Mistrangelo. The property I own is 2569 Cobb Parkway, which is adjoining to 2579. We do have, when I built that, built my location, Red Lobster was not even in the picture. It was Rhodes Furniture that bought that and sold it to Red Lobster before they built it. Now, what the problem is, she said there was no objections. I called this number and couldn't get anywhere to see what was going on. I couldn't gather any information. They said I can't even remember what they said. More or less, go to the meeting, to the variance hearing. Now, the problem lies with the parking. Now, you want to add another structure. Right now, tenant is here, and there's, with Red Lobster, we have cross easements rights. They can park on our property, we can park on their property. Now, what Red Lobster did last year, or the last 2 years, they cut off a section for parking that if you eat there, you can park in the back, which causes a lot of problems for my tenant because those spaces were allocated for cross easement, and they're selling them off and would not let anybody in there. And now there's going to be another building that's going to add more traffic, and I'd like to get it straight that there is a cross easement, and I'm allowed to park anywhere on that property. Where Red Lobster, I was going to retain an attorney, but since this happened, because of that parking issue. Now, the parking issue kills his business. I mean, because everybody, during the baseball game, it's right in front of the stadium. So everybody wants to park there. There's signs over, you're going to be towed if you park here, but most people don't. And my tenant doesn't call up tow truck companies. You know, he's not going to do that. And during his business has gone way down during games because there's not enough parking. And that's my issue, is how much parking is going to be added to this new structure.
Well, I would say that as the License and Variance Board, we're not dealing with the parking situation. That is a zoning issue, and our Community Development Director is here, and I'm sure he can talk to you about that offline. But what we're hearing about today is a request for a secondary accessory structure.
Right.
And so that's the only thing we're dealing with in this meeting today.
And the parking is excluded from that?
It is
Just the
excluded from this particular
So
board, yes.
Who would I need to see?
Right here in the front row.
Okay. I mean, his business has really been hurting because of, the parking situation,
I understand.
so.
Thank you.
That's it?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Is there anyone else that's here that would like to speak for or against? Please state your name for the record.
Yes, my name is Joseph DeBose, and I own a State Farm office that's next to Red Lobster.
Yes.
And we share a driveway, and I'm just concerned about the flow of traffic in and out. If I have my clients are trying to either enter or exit, how's that's going to work as far as for their customers coming in to go to the canopy, so to speak, to get service for food there. So that's my only concern there is how's that going to impact that?
Oh, okay, yes. I think we can have the engineer speak to that question if you don't mind coming back up.
Okay.
And that was just to the access, the driveway, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, the driveway, there is a the driveways are to remain. We're going to reuse the existing driveways. We've been coordinating with GDOT. There are some easements in place to basically keep the driveways as is, so we're just going to effectively reuse the existing driveways.
Okay. Reuse the existing driveway. Any other questions or comments to come before the board? Okay, hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve variance request V25058, allow secondary accessory structure land lot 879, 2579 Cobb Parkway, Sidney Kelly, applicant.
Second motion.
All right, we have a properly moved and seconded. Please vote. Item A passes unanimously. Next item, item B, variance request of V25-063 to reduce the western side setback from 12 feet to 7 feet in land lot 598 at 3489 Vinings North Way. Keisha Chambers is the applicant. Ms. Crow, can you give us the background?
Yes, thank you. Caitlin Crow, Community Development. So as you just read out, this is V25-063 to reduce that western side setback from 12 feet to 7 feet. So this property is a little over half an acre located on the south side of Vinings North Way, which is in the Vinings North subdivision. So the applicant actually has been in front of the board before, back in 2015, for a very similar variance. They were at the time going to install a 2-car garage, which was going to encroach it was going to encroach 4 feet into the setback, but it was at an 8-foot reduction. So the applicant has now come back in front of the board because they're going to be expanding this a little bit. They're going to go 1 foot further into the side setback, as well as adding a second level to that 2-car garage to create some more living space for the property. So although the garage is much larger than what was originally intended with that second floor, which is doubling the square footage, they're actually shrinking the overall footprint to try and decrease that variance as much as possible. It will be shifted slightly back to give that 1 foot extra addition, but it will bring it further from the front of the road, which will hopefully be a little bit more appeasing a visual side as you're walking along the cul-de-sac. So to reduce this extent, again, they are going to go 4 feet in front of the home just to lighten the load a little bit on that side setback. There's an existing privacy fence that is along the western side of the property, as well as some mature evergreen trees there to try and buffer that as much as possible from that western side. However, the closest structure is approximately 50 feet away, so they're not going to be on top of each other regardless. So community development believes that there will be minimum impacts to this, and again, there was a reduction that was approved back in 2015 for an 8-foot side setback, and so it would be logical to be able to approve to a 7-foot due to the existing driveway and plans that are currently in place. At the time of this report, community development has not received any opposition to this request, and after reviewing the variance application, we do recommend your approval with the following 3 conditions on this one. The first is our standard condition. Approval of the requested variance shall be conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan and elevation submitted with the variance application. Number 2, gutters and downspouts shall direct stormwater as such that runoff is contained wholly on the subject property without adversely impacting adjacent properties. And number 3, a building permit application must be submitted for the accessory structure in the rear prior to permit issuance for the garage addition. The certificate of completion for the garage shall be held until the accessory structure permit has been completed. And I can answer any questions.
Questions for Ms. Crowe? All
All right, thank you.
right, is the applicant here? Hi. Hello. Good morning. If you could just state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Renita Tiller. I am standing in for Keisha Chambers. She's traveling, so.
Okay.
You want her address or?
No, you're
Okay.
just fine. Thank you. Do you have anything else to add to this report that Ms. Crowe gave for us?
No, she was perfect.
Okay, great. Thank you.
If you have any
You
questions.
do understand the 3 stipulations that she read out, and that the applicant will be willing to adhere to those?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good. All right, any questions from the board? Okay, you
All
can have a
right.
seat. Thank you. This is a public meeting. If anyone here wishes to speak in favor or against this project, please approach the podium now. Okay, hearing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve variance request. Let me get this a little closer. V25-063, reduce the western side setback from 12 feet to 7 feet, located at 3489 Boundings North Way, Keisha Chambers applicant.
Second.
All right, we have a properly moved and seconded. Please vote. And that passes unanimously. Thank you. Next item, item C, variance request V25-064 to reduce the street side setback from 23.3 feet to 18 feet in land lot 524 at 3245 Dunn Street. William Madden is the applicant. Ms. Crowe, the background. You were already up.
Sorry.
Thank you.
All right, got ahead of you there. Yes, thank you. Again, Caitlin Crowe, Community Development. So, again, just like you just read out, this is variance V25-064 to reduce the street side setback from 23.3 feet to 18 feet. So this subject parcel is a 0.4 acre lot located right at the intersection of Dunn Street and Collier Drive, which is a corner lot. So this property has also received variance approval in previous years. The first was back in 2002, where they had a similar variance for a street side setback from 23.3 feet to 21.4 feet for an addition at the time. And then the second variance was in 2016 to allow for a 6-foot fence within the front yard. So this property actually recently approved a building permit back in February of 2025, which had mostly an interior renovation, but they also had some exterior roofs put over an existing patio. So that patio actually was where they used to have kind of this outdoor grilling kitchen area. Once they covered it, they wanted to relocate it to a different section. So they did go outside that permit from those plans, which was caught during inspections, but as soon as they were notified, they immediately submitted for this variance application. But just note that this outdoor kitchen is existing today. So what the applicant is asking for is to just maintain it in its existing form. So they do have a now covered kitchen area that again is extending further than that previously approved variance. So it's going from 21.4 feet to 18 feet. However, the outdoor kitchen is positioned in such a way that it's really not visible from the roadway. Because of that variance back in 2016 that allowed for that 6-foot fence, the fence as well as some mature bushes do block it mostly from view along Collier. So we do believe that this is the minimum variance needed to be able to maintain this outdoor kitchen, and we don't believe that it will negatively impact any of the adjacent neighbors. At the time of this report, community development has not received any type of opposition to this request. So after reviewing this variance application, staff does support the variance request and does recommend your approval with just the standard condition on this one. So approval of the requested variance shall be conditioned upon substantial compliance to the site plan and elevations submitted with this variance application. And as always, I can answer any questions.
Yeah, Ms. Crowe, it says 23.3 feet, and you said 21.
Oh, I'm sorry. So it was 21.4 after the variance from 2002. Gotcha. That is correct. But the overall variance is 23.3. Okay. Yes, thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. Any others?
All right, thank you.
The applicant is here. Could you step forward, please? Good morning. Could you state your name and address for the record, please?
William Madden, 3245 Dunn Street.
Welcome. Do you have any additional comments to add to what Ms. Crowe?
Not at this time.
You understand the one stipulation that you will be required to adhere to?
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
Thank you. You can have a seat. This is a public hearing. If there's anyone here to speak for or against this project, please come forward. Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve variance request V25-064, reduce the street side setback from 23.3 feet to 18 feet, land lot 524, 3245 Dunn Street, William Madden, applicant.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second. We can move forward with a vote. That vote passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
I've got a question for Mr. Madden.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not even
No, it's
give
absolutely
you the
fine.
opportunity.
I just want to know if you're enjoying that outdoor kitchen. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't give you a chance to ask questions, did I? Okay. Moving on to, okay. Moving on to item D. It is variance request V25-065 to allow an encroachment into the city's 50-foot undisturbed stream buffer in land lot 617 at 5080 Healy Drive. Gary Krajewski, I hope I pronounced it correctly, is the applicant. Ms. Crowe, the background, please.
Yes, thank you. Caitlin Crowe, Community Development. So the next two variances are actually for the same property. So just to kind of keep time underway, I will go ahead and read them together. As you know, you will go ahead and vote on them separately, but that way we only have to do this once. So the first variance is what you just read, is V25-065 to allow encroachment into the city's 50-foot undisturbed stream buffer. And the second variance today will be V25-066 to allow encroachment into the city's 75-foot impervious surface setback. So this subject parcel is located on the southern side of Healy Drive within the Woodland Gate subdivision. So this subject parcel was originally platted back in 2001 when the stream buffer ordinance wasn't implemented until 2005. So because of that, this property is severely encumbered by the state's 25-foot buffer, as well as the city's 50 and 75-foot. And in fact, some of the home is actually encroaching into the 75-foot as well. Because the home was built prior to our current ordinance, the hardship is not self-created. However, anytime there is any additional work done, whether it be replacing or increasing an encroachment, it does have to meet our current ordinances, which is why we're in front of the board today with these variance requests. So the applicant is proposing to kind of fully remodel the rear yard by replacing some existing wooden retaining walls with a new modular block retaining wall. They're going to be expanding the rear deck just slightly and then installing a new pervious paver patio in the rear. So because the retaining walls have kind of started failing, the house was built in 2003, they are looking to move those retaining walls back just a little bit to give even more of a buffer from that 25-foot state. And then again, they're consolidating it into one to reduce that impact of impervious surface area. So the engineering department has reviewed these plans. The pervious paver system is going to create some mitigation there. And then they are going to also require double row silt fence and hay bales to be installed during construction due to the stream in the rear. And then the rear is also part of the subdivision's overall detention facility. So it'll just kind of give that extra buffer during construction to make sure that no silt is flowing into that area. So they have reviewed this and again do support the methods for the buffer mitigation. Community development again believes that these variances are not self-created since the house footprint was built prior to the stream buffer ordinance. At the time of this report, community development has not received any calls in opposition to these requests. So after reviewing the variance application, staff does recommend your approval for both variances with the following two stipulations. Number one, approval is conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan and elevations submitted with the variance application. And number two, a stormwater inspection and maintenance agreement shall be completed and recorded with the Cobb County Superior Court prior to issuance of the building permit. And just a note to the board that they have already completed stipulation number 2 as of yesterday, but it is still here for the record. All right.
Any questions for staff?
And then I will also add Clara Hodges from the engineering department is here regarding the mitigation method if you do have any questions specifically about that. All right, thank you.
Questions for Clara as well? All right, no questions. If the applicant can step forward, please. State your name for the record. Good morning.
Gary Krajewski, 5080 Healy Drive.
Nice to meet you. You have heard the report that Ms. Crow gave. Do you have any additional comments?
No other comments.
Okay, great. On the first item, the variance request to allow encroachment into the city's 50-foot undisturbed stream buffer, do you understand the two stipulations and agree to adhere?
I do, and I agree.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions for the applicant? Just have a seat for us.
All right,
Thank you. This is a public hearing. If there's anyone here to speak for or against this, let the record show no one's here to speak for that or against, so we will entertain a motion on the first item, item 2.
Motion to approve variance request V25-065, allow encroachment into the city's 50-foot undisturbed stream buffer located at 5080 Healy Drive. Gary Krajewski as applicant.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We can have a proper vote. That passes unanimously. So on item E, which is variance request V25-066 to allow encroachment into the city's 75-foot impervious surface setback, say that 3 times. Mr. Krajewski, do you also agree to the two stipulations that were previously read?
I do agree.
All right. Any questions from the board? Comments? Let the record show that there is no one else here to make any public comment for or against this project, so we can entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve variance request V25-066, allow encroachment into the city's 75-foot impervious surface setback, land lot 617-5080 Healy Drive, Gary Krajewski.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second. We can vote. And that vote passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the June 25th, 2025 License and Variance Board meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. That also passes unanimously. Any other business to come before the board? Hearing none, we will adjourn at 10:26.